Hi there, welcome back. This is the second of our videos where we've changed the theme from autumn and fall to black and white and usually just one other colour. Now this is an unusual mould. It's got a sort of tray or dish for this. It's a head mould, which sounds really odd, but it's like a pot. And all we're going to do is we're going to make it up. We're also going to use another mould, which you can just about see in the picture. It's down at the bottom there. Beautiful sort of Baroque, I'm going to call it Baroque themed shape of tray sort of dish or trinket tray. Now we're just going to use up some leftover resin from a previous project which had already got some white acrylic paint in it. Now we're using that as the colorant for the resin. The resin is just a regular resin and it's a 1:1 mixing ratio. It's got a bit of mica powder and a bit of white already in it, but not enough. So we just added a little bit more. Don't forget 10% rule. Don't add more than 10% of additive in the way of colouring to your resin, otherwise it could affect the way it cures. So we're just mixing it in thoroughly here into this little jug of resins. This is a little silicone pouring mixing jug. They're very, very handy, very easy to clean up. And yeah, there we go. And obviously reuse, not throw away. So not single use stuff, it's all stuff that you can reuse. So there's the white. Now we're going to use this liquid acrylic ink. Now I haven't used this black ink before. It doesn't have, unfortunately, it's not one of the ones with the bottles with the lid that's got the pipette built in. So if you're going to purchase this sort of thing, if you're going to purchase the one from the link that we put in the description box, then you will need to buy some pipettes, unless you have got such a steady hand that you don't require that. Otherwise, buy some that have got the pipette part already, or the dropper already built into the lid of the bottle there. So I just showed you the pipettes that we have, and I'm going to use that to draw up the acrylic ink into the pipette tube, the tube part of the pipette, and then just drop it in with the resin. But you'll see that as we progress on through this. Also going to use some of this really rather lovely glitter. Now this is a bit like the magic glitter. You've probably heard me refer to that. You certainly will do if you've been following along on the last few videos we've done. There's one, it looks like it's a particular colour in the jar, the glass jar. And then when you pour it in to mix it into clear resin, it fades, the colour fades almost to nothing, particularly with the white it does. And then you just have these little pops of the glitter sparkle. So I'm just dividing this up between that and that one and another silicone mixing jug. So we're going to add some of this lovely glitter in. Now this was purchased from the range, which is a UK retailer here in the obviously here in the Great Britain and UK, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Sorry, interrupting myself now. So it's a beautiful deep grey, and you put it in the resin and it's still a little bit grey there, but if you added more resin, obviously it'd look a lot paler. But can you see that? It's still, it hasn't really coloured the resin. All it's done is suspended the silver glitter in it, if that makes sense. But yeah, so my apologies. For some reason, best known to my camera, there's no actual footage of me pouring the different coloured resins into this particular mould, which is a big shame. I'm really, really sorry. But all I did was I poured white resin and then dropped the black acrylic ink in it and some of the glitter resin as well into it, and then just kept going until the mould was completely full, and then took in a stir stick and just sort of gave it a bit of a swirl on the top. So what I've also then done is with some other resin that I've made up, again 1:1 mixing ratio, divided it between 3 of the smaller mixing jugs there, silicone mixing jugs, added some in on the far left of that lovely glitter, really lovely glitter. Just mixing it up. So my 3 colours in this one are white, black and silver, or silver glitter. So here we go, we're just giving you a bit more of a close-up. Make sure you thoroughly stir it into the glitter so it mixes in all of it. Now I have found with this particular glitter, it is light enough that it doesn't all sink to the bottom, which is really good. I believe there is a tip that somebody has made in one of our previous videos, a comment they made about the fact that to stop, if you've got a heavier or bigger glitter, then if you add a couple of drops of Elmer's glue all into the resin, when you've mixed up your resin, and before you add, and then you add in your glitter, then add in a couple of drops of the Elmer's glue all, that it does thicken it enough so the glitter suspends in it, no matter what size or shape or weight the glitter is. But I myself haven't tried that, and I'm a bit concerned that about measurement, as in, well, how much do you know to put into how much resin and so on. So I haven't actually done that. I'm just going to stick with what I know. So what you can see me doing here, this is the upside down mould of the head, and I'm just popping in some of that beautiful glitter resin onto the top and then just smoothing it out a little bit with a stir stick there. This is the process that I did with the other mould that's up in the top right hand corner. So just popping a bit more in, I decided, you know, just go for it. Let's pop a bit more in. So I've never used these moulds before, so very much wondering how they're going to turn out. Is it going to look a bit odd to start with, or is it going to work how I'm hoping? Now what I'm doing now is I'm just dropping a very small amount of that black acrylic ink. If you put too much in, it will not cure properly, it will not dry, and then when you demold it will feel wet to the touch. So look, what I've opted then to do, because Wayne, who is one of the other creators here and my partner, said don't drop it on direct onto the mould, actually drop it into the resin as you're pouring the resin. So that's what I did then with that white resin. Got the black dropper full of, or pipette full of the acrylic ink, and just dropped it into the white acrylic, the white resin just before I poured it in, and then immediately forgot what he'd said to me to do and went back to what I was doing. Silly me. So there we go. Look, there we go. A bit more. Just dropping the black into the white and pouring it in. And again, oh, and again. Go careful with the amount of black that you pop in, because it can overpower it. I was a little bit concerned at this point that maybe I'd gone too much with the black, but then I thought, what the hell, go for it. What is it they say? In for a penny, in for a pound. Just go for it, Laura. So there we go. Just topping it right up to the top as far as I can go. I've used the black enough, so I've just put that down to one side. Make sure that when you put the pipette down that you put it so the open end is just elevated slightly off the surface of where you've put it, because if you put it flat it may all run down towards the open end and then out over your workspace area. So we're almost at the top of the mould now. We're just going to top it up with a bit more glitter, because after all, you can never have too much glitter. Or maybe you can if you've knocked it everywhere. But anyway, moving on. So a little bit more. So just all I'm doing now is just very gradually, very carefully making sure that there's resin right up to the top surface of the mould. And oh, I thought I'd finish with the black, maybe not. One tiny little drop in the middle of the resin there. And here we go, in with this is a coffee stirrer, wooden stirrer, but you can use what you feel comfortable doing. And all I'm doing is just carefully was going around the edge of the mould, making sure there's no trap bubbles, and then giving it a little bit of a swirl and a swizzle. Swirling and swizzling, swirling and swizzling. So you can see that's mixed it. Now then I was a bit worried that maybe I'd done that a bit too much. And I just showed you the other tray that goes with it just then. Yeah. So here we go. Now I had leftover resin, and as usual with leftover resin, what we've decided to do now is, if we can, we will keep these bits in the edit of the video just to show you what we do. Now I knew I'd got enough left over to make at least one type of one coaster. So I've gone with these are the moulds I have to hand. Always tend to keep something to hand in case we have leftover resin. So I was discussing with Wayne whilst doing this, do you think maybe, just maybe, we might be able to do a bloom? So he said, well, we're going to need some white, which I think I'd got some white left over. And he said some clear on the bottom. Well, I hadn't got completely clear. I'd got some with the glitter. Now, all I've done is poured in what I had left. It's a thin layer, a very thin layer of resin on the base there of the coaster mould. And with that stir stick, I'm just helping the resin out to the edges. Now, of course, you can do that using a heat tool to move the resin around a bit. There we go. So just making sure it's all gone. I did actually make 2 of these for this video. I had enough left over to make 2, which I was really pleased about. Now, going to use Ocean White. Now, the Ocean White pigment paste that I've just shown you briefly is really, really good as what they call a sinker white. So it's supposed to be good for blooms. So I thought, you know what the hell, I've got a bit of clear resin, another bit left over. I'm going to make up some white using that. So I did do that. And all I did, here we go, is the Ocean White. I think I show you this bit. Yes, there we go. So put a bit of the Ocean White in there. Added some more clear resin that I'd forgotten I'd got left. I made up, basically what we had is we had about, I think we had about 100 mils left of this particular brand of resin. And I just thought, rather than just leave it in those bottles, let's see what we can do with it. So I poured it, mixed it, and we used the rest of it in these things, in these other bits and pieces that you're going to see. So all I've done is made up the white there using that other type of white. Now, this is not made using white acrylic paint as your pigment. It is made using the other brand that I showed you. Now, in comes the black acrylic ink again and that lovely pipette. And I thought, you know, let's see, is it going to work the same as if you used an alcohol ink? And I can tell you now, the answer is no, it doesn't. Well, it certainly didn't for me. I don't know if that resin with the glitter in it was too thick, because I said this particular brand of resin that we've just finished using seems to be a lot thicker than what we're used to using. Now, I was really hoping that those little round drops there of the black acrylic ink were going to spread, and they didn't. So that was a bit disappointing. So at this point I thought, yeah, usual thing, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's just put a load of black dots, little circles of acrylic ink in this coaster. Now, Wayne at this point was telling me, right, now what you need to do is put spirals of the white all the way around it. And yeah, we couldn't find our miniature piping bags, because otherwise I'd have put the white resin, pigmented resin, in that kind of thing, and then snipped off the tiny bit at the bottom corner of the bag and then sort of just swirled it round and round. So I'm just trying to at this point just trying to get the white resin sorted, ready to pour. So yeah, I'm sorry, there is a rather a long pause here where there isn't a lot of action going on camera. But it is coming up very, very soon, I promise. Thank you very much, by the way, if you've joined us, if you're watching this on the premiere, or if you're watching it after we've had the premiere. Hi to everybody in the live chat who's joined us. Hope you're all well, your week's going well, and that you're bearing with us. Don't forget to give us a like, share, subscribe, comment. What colours would you use? What techniques have you learnt? Do you have any tips that we can share with our community? You know, we're all learning, and every day in our case. But yeah, thanks for sticking with us. If you haven't, if you're not one of our subscribers and you've just found us on a recommendation from YouTube, then why not, if you haven't already got a YouTube account, open up a YouTube account. It's pretty straightforward to do. You don't get bombarded with emails from them, and it's free. And then subscribe to our channel. That's also free. hit the notification bell, and then every time we upload a video, which is currently 3 times a week, Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays at 5 p.m. UK time, you'll get notified to say we're uploading one. We tend to work with collections, themes, different types of colours, that sort of thing. And we also take part in collaborations throughout the year. Next one is coming up quite soon, everyone. I think it's 14th of October. It's a collaboration with a lot of other artists, and it's Halloween themed. So what you can see I've done now, and get back to this, is I've done my lots of spiral circles of white, and then I'm just going from the sides of the mould into the centre, then repeating that. Remember to clean your stick. I'm using the coffee stir stick here every time you do that, otherwise you'll get a build-up of resin on the stick and it might drop as a blob into your coaster. So that looks like a really lovely pattern, doesn't it? What a shame it doesn't stay like that. But anyway, here we go. So I'm now going from the centre outwards, doing exactly the same thing in each one of those sections. Here we go. This reminds me, I'm going to think about food again. What is it with me recently? If it's not ice cream, I'm now thinking of some cakes that I've seen with that sort of pattern of icing on them. But anyway, right, so surprise, surprise, did actually have to leave it a whole 24 hours, not 12 hours. Definitely not 12 hours, a whole 24 because it's colder here in the UK. But unfortunately, as I said, there was no footage of me pouring the resin into this mould. I'm really sorry about that. I apologise profusely. But it has hardened. It did take a full 24 hours though. And we've changed to a black background because it's a bit more dramatic and the pieces show up that much better. So, nice and clean out of the mould. That was quite easy to use, that mould, which was good. We've got a lot of marbling going on and black veining, and you can see little bits of glitter. It's really rather good. I was quite pleased with this. We're going to go around the edge of that with the deburring tool as well. Now look at that. It's given it a granite-like appearance. Look at that. Oh, look at the way it picks up the glitter. I really, really like that. There are a few things I do differently. I'm just checking there to see if we get any black come off of my hands. There was a tiny bit there. Now, it's not left any indents or holes, which is great. And all I'll do is just lightly wipe over it with a wet wipe, with a baby wipe, and then dry it. Now, there now comes the pot that is in the shape of a head. Looks almost like it's got a very thin moustache there. But let's just see. Now, I at this point realised, Laura, you need to stop what you're doing. Stop, hold it, wait a minute. You've got black acrylic ink on your gloves, and if I try to demold this other piece any further, I'd probably get black fingerprint marks all over it. So just cleaning off my gloves off camera, because obviously you don't need to see that. Dear oh dear. But yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, these moulds are from Temu, and as usual, everything that we use, or as much as we can, we will link to stockists and item numbers, discount codes if we have any. It'll all be in the description box. So first time trying to demold this using some gloves, obviously wearing gloves. I wear gloves all of the time now when I'm working with resin, whether I am pouring resin, demolding pieces, dusting with mica powder, because I've got ultra sensitive skin and I don't want any more reactions to mica powders and things like that. Don't forget to protect yourself as usual. You all know the drill. Well ventilated rooms. Protect yourself using gloves, sleeve protectors if you have them, old clothing, an apron, not forgetting your respirator mask. So there we go, you've got a little sneak peek there of it. So just trying to pull that mould up. I cannot believe I actually waited a whole 24 hours. I'm quite the impatient person. To the point now where, because it's a lot colder over here in the UK now, things are taking a lot longer to cure, and going to invest in a heat mat. But we're actually going to buy propagation mats, not heat not resin heat mats. Recommended to buy a propagation mat by a lovely resin artist called Jules from Resin Jules, because they give a continual temperature. They don't suddenly heat up really hot and then switch off. So she said they'll give more of an even cure, but that's been her experience. She's a very talented artist. Everything she's recommended, tips and so on, and products have been excellent. So we're going to go with her advice. So thanks, Jules. Look at this. Now I'm just checking to see if we've got the same situation here with these black parts, and we haven't. But look at that. It does look, I didn't know if it looked a little bit freaky, to be honest. I wasn't 100% certain, not sure. But I actually think this one looks quite calming. I'm really pleased with that. And I love the effect. I love the glitter. I love the marbling. I love the fact that some of the black is obviously mixed with the white to become grey as well. And some of it is still pure black. And obviously we've got those lines of streaks of the black for the marbling there. So we're just doing a little bit more of a close-up of these individual pieces. Looks very calm, that face, the expression. Look at that with the glitter. And then there we go. It does look quite like it's made, almost been carved out of marble. Even if I do say so myself, I think I make quite a good job of that. Now, this is what we made with the leftovers. So we made the 2 coasters, and we also made a little round cylinder pot and a hexagon pot. We've made those 2 pots before in the lovely dressing table set that Wayne made a couple of videos ago. If you haven't seen that, check it out on our playlist and go and have a watch and have a view. It's absolutely stunning what he makes. Now, I'll be honest, spoiler alert, I don't demold these in the coasters, because what I'm going to do is pour some black resin on the back, but they are a little sneak peek of what they look like on the underside. They haven't worked as well as I had hoped, but you know, I'm still practicing when it comes to blooms, so I'm going to let that one go. So here's the hexagon shaped pot. Now, I noticed a bit of discoloration on the mould. Can you see it there by my top of my right index finger? It's yellowy, and by my thumbs there, it looks like it's gone yellowy, and I wasn't quite sure why, because certainly it wasn't like that when I poured the resins into it. And then I wondered, is it because there's more of a concentration of the black there and it's discoloured the mould? And I think that's actually what's happened. But it did come out of this very quickly and very easily. But look at that effect. Now, I did do a little bit of a drop swirl technique. Again, if you don't know that technique, go on over and have a look at Resin Jules. She's on Instagram. She is also on YouTube. It's one of her techniques, and it's brilliant. So all it is a case of you pour your resins into your mould, and then you get a little stir stick or something down the side in between the outer and inner wall, pop it down into the base and then draw it up, and then down into the base and draw it up. So you're just gently coaxing the resin to mix. But I do love the way that pot came out there. Now this is the cylinder mould. So again, we've got some discoloration. Now this, boy, was this tricky to me to demould. I, as you can see, am giving it various attempts. Yeah, put the gloves on a bit better. A bit tighter, and here we have, to the rescue, Wayne's hands. So this is Wayne at demoulding. Now Wayne doesn't have any kind of allergic reactions to cured resins. Obviously when he's using resin that hasn't cured and he's mixing it and so on, he does wear gloves. But this is him with his signature black glitter nails. There you go. And again, we've got discoloration on some of the silicone mould there, the yellowy colour. Oh, back to me, there we are. And I removed the rest of the mould. So that's what the black acrylic ink has done. Now, yeah, this is like a tag team, this is now, with this demould. So I tagged him in again. He's done a bit more, and there we go. I've got the very last bit to do. So just twist and pull, and it comes out quite easy. Again, you see there, the discoloration, but that's fine. Look at the bottom there. It's a bit like the starry sky at night, isn't it? But look at that. So we've got some big areas, large areas of the black, but we still got a bit of the drop swirl technique going on that I did. The glitter as well. I really like these two. They're gorgeous. We will go around the bottoms of all of these pieces with a deburring tool just to get rid of any slightly sharp edges. Oh yes, and we also did a little skull. And he is rather cute, if skulls can be cute. So that can be have a keyring chain added to it, and you could make it into a keyring chain if you wanted to. And we also did this rather lovely koi fish, which is stunning. I really like that. Really, really like that. Yeah, we have done those. We've poured those and things in previous videos. Why not check out our playlist and you'll find it. So here are the final shots here. Sorry about the flickering of lights there. That was what I would call the Baroque-shaped trinket tray. As again, apologies, there wasn't very much footage of that one. There is the head pot, the head profile pot. It's a lovely tray that it sits with. Gorgeous, stunning, almost like a granite-like finish or marble finish to it. So there's those three pieces, which was what the main video was about. And here again, lovely, beautiful tray. Stunning. And then we've got the cylinder pot, which was a little bonus there. The hexagon-shaped pot. The gorgeous koi fish. And Mr. Skull. So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.